Hi everyone, Cute the Boy Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. And it's time for a review of the new Brittany Howard record, Jaime. This is a full-length commercial debut from singer, songwriter, guitarist, Brittany Howard, an Alabama native who's primarily known as being the frontwoman of the Alabama Shakes. This isn't her first musical foray outside of the band, though. She did have that Thunder Bitch record drop in 2015, which was mostly met with very lukewarm reviews. But from what I gather, this is her first record under her own name, a short and sweet project mixing together elements of psych music, blues, soul, hip-hop, and lo-fi. Also managing to sound a lot more unorthodox and raw than she's ever sounded in Alabama Shakes. Brittany undergoes quite the reinvention on this project, sounding like a totally different artist on some tracks. Whether it be on the very intimate and classic-sounding vocal jazz ballad Short and Sweet, or the fat beats and very grim spoken word about her racist surroundings growing up on the cut Goat Head. The production here sounds like something out of a Gonja Sufi song. Also, the opening track on this thing, History Repeats, it's groovy, it's bassy, it's drum heavy, it's a pretty seamless fusion of funk and R&B. It's topped with these zany-ass vocals that sound like something out of the last D'Angelo record, and the production, the compression, is so blown out that it creates this very just massive juggernaut-sized vibe. It's thick. It's thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. Mind you, this incredible amount of compression isn't on every track here, and on the tracks where it is present, it doesn't complement every one of them. So while Jaime is not that long of a record, just 35 minutes or so, Brittany is sounding incredibly bold on this project, really letting loose on a lot of tracks here, and going on musical and sonic excursions that I don't think she could have or would have in other contexts. And even though the prospect of that is pretty exciting because Howard is incredibly talented, still the downside to all of that is the flow of this record is incredibly scattershot. It is just not really sure of what it wants to be at all as an overall experience. So there's little to no consistency on this thing, and there are a good chunk of the tracks here that feel like mere impressions of songs, or songs that in my opinion don't really resolve, like Tomorrow, or just end abruptly, such as Baby and Presence. I have a hard time imagining Brittany's listeners who are just into her for the blues stuff, for the soul stuff, really getting down with tracks like the haunting, minimal, and distorted Run to Me, or the song 13th Century Metal, one of the most compressed tracks on the entire record, and a song that sounds like a part psych, part noise jam that's like a cross between a Velvet Underground song and a religious sermon. And look, personally, I love this track, but I wish it was reinforced by other sounds and ideas on the project. Give it to love! Truly and honestly, I think this record is at its catchiest and most consistent in the first leg, where again we get that amazing track History Repeats, which is booming, angular, impeccably funky. It's really out there with its blown out sound, its hypnotic strumming, its angular guitar leads, its very chunky drumming and squishy keyboards. Yes, they're squishy. Honest to God, they're quite squishy. We also have the song He Loves Me, which is lovely. It's endearing. It also puts a bit of a bittersweet twist on your typical love song. It's got these fat drums, these dirty projector-esque guitar leads, grimy bass, and those unapologetic lyrics talking about how Brittany's significant other loves her when she's getting drunk, smoking blunts, when she does what she wants. I also love the track Georgia, which by comparison with other cuts here is a lot softer on the ears, but still those drums, those bassy bits still sound like they could be heavier, go harder. This track sounds like watching a sumo wrestler pull off a ballet routine. The massive gargantuan size is there, but still all the instrumentation manages to sound curious and shy. Meanwhile, Stay High is easily the most classic and accessible track of the bunch. If there's any one song on this record that would not sound out of place in the midst of an Alabama Shakes track list, it is this one. Still though, there are elements of this track that do make it stand out, like Brittany's vocal performance, where she just absolutely kills it, to the point where I'm just vocally hearing her in a very different light. I mean, some of the falsettos she hits on this track almost have a husky kind of manly tone to them. And as much as I do enjoy the more left field and fringe spots throughout this record, mostly toward the end, there is something in me that wishes there were more cuts like this in the track list, because at least a good chunk of these experiments either don't finish off all that strongly or don't really feel like they are building toward anything on a record that very much feels like a potpourri of solid songs, but also weird exorcisms of ideas that I feel like Brittany just had to get out there. On some record, it just happened to be this one. Still, gotta say I enjoyed this record quite a bit. The songs that were well-groomed and the experiments that did manage to be the boldest of the bunch certainly had me looking forward to more music from Brittany in the future in a solo capacity, or at least hoping that in her other projects like Alabama Shakes, she manages to work in more left field ideas such as the ones that landed on this record. Either way, feeling a light to decent 7 on this one. Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video that you could check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Brittany Howard, forever.